Gaslighting isn't just manipulation, it's the slow destruction of your reality. And the most dangerous part is, you don't notice it until you're already inside it. Not because it's loud, but because it starts so quietly. It feels almost harmless. It doesn't just control your behavior, it changes the way you trust your own mind. Gaslighting doesn't break you with one lie, it breaks you by making you doubt yourself. Unmasked psychology. See clearly. Live freely. Gaslighting doesn't destroy your life from the outside. It destroys your life from within. It starts so subtly you barely notice it. And by the end, you're no longer questioning the other person. You're questioning yourself, your memory, your judgment, your sanity. And that's what makes gaslighting so dangerous. It often happens in ways no one else can fully see. In relationships, at work, in families, in private conversations no one else hears. Sometimes it's directed at one person only. Everyone else sees someone calm, normal, believable. Only you experience the distortion. So you stop asking, what happened? And start asking, what's wrong with me? In this video, I'll show you the 5 stages of gaslighting, how they unfold, why they work so well, and how to recognize them before you lose yourself. Stage 1. The first cracks in your reality. That's not how it happened. That's how it starts. Not with an attack, with a doubt. I never said that. You're remembering it wrong. That's not what I meant. It still sounds harmless, like a disagreement, but something crucial is happening in your mind. You begin to question your own perception. Did I really hear that? Maybe I did overreact? This isn't random. This is the first step of a system. Gaslighters never start with an attack. They start with a doubt. The goal of stage 1 isn't to convince you. The goal is to destabilize you, because a person who doubts herself is a person who can be shaped. The antidote: don't start by asking whether you're wrong. Ask yourself, what did I perceive before this person told me otherwise? Your first instinct is almost always the honest one. Hold on to it. But this was just the first crack. In stage 2, they go after something far more personal. Stage 2, your emotions become a weapon against you. In stage 1, they targeted your memory. In stage 2, they target your feelings. You're hurt. You say so. And what comes back? You're overreacting again. Do you always have to be so dramatic? Why are you so sensitive? Do you see what's happening? Your legitimate emotions are being reframed as the problem. Psychologists call this emotional invalidation. And it has one clear purpose: to make you believe something is wrong with you, that your emotions are exaggerated, inappropriate, wrong. And the moment you start doubting your own feelings, something dangerous happens. You lose contact with your intuition. Your body says, something is off here. But your mind says, you're probably overreacting again. That's when gaslighting takes hold, when your mind works against your body. The antidote: your feelings are not a weakness. They are information. If you regularly walk away from conversations wondering whether you feel too much, that's not a sign you're wrong. It's a sign someone needs you to believe that. And once your emotions are silenced, they move to something even more systematic. Stage 3, the systematic rewrite. Now it becomes consistent. They don't just contradict you once, they contradict you every time, no matter what you say, no matter what you experienced, no matter what evidence you have. The answer is always the same. That's not true. That's not how it happened. You're confusing things. And here's what makes it work. They say it calmly, confidently, without hesitation. While you become emotional, they stay cold. And suddenly you think, someone this calm must be telling the truth. Maybe my memory really is that bad. Maybe something really is wrong with me. This isn't coincidence. This is calculation. With enough repetition, anyone loses connection to their own reality. That's not weakness. That's psychology. The antidote: write down what happens, with dates. Not to confront anyone, but to prove to yourself your reality is real. Your memory is valid. But the lies aren't the worst part. What comes next is stage 4, the isolation. This is the most dangerous stage. Everyone sees it that way. It's just you. I've talked to others about this. They find you difficult too. Everyone thinks you're overreacting. The goal, to cut you off socially. Because if you believe everyone is on their side, you'll trust them, not yourself. And here's something most people don't know. At work, gaslighting is often targeted at one person specifically. In front of others, he's completely normal, charming even, professional. He builds his credibility in public, so no one believes you later. But behind closed doors, in private conversations, in emails only you receive, that's where the destruction happens. And because no one else sees it, something devastating happens. You become unsure. You make mistakes. You seem unstable. And that confirms his narrative. See? She really can't handle pressure. She keeps making errors. Something's off with her. The story they created starts to look true. That's not your failure. That's the perfection of the manipulation. The antidote. When someone says, everyone thinks that, you now know what that means. Isolation is part of the system, not the truth. And once you're isolated, there's only one thing left to destroy. Stage 5, the collapse of identity. This is the final stage. You're no longer questioning situations. You're no longer questioning conversations. You're questioning yourself. Maybe I really am too sensitive. Maybe my memory really is that bad. Maybe I am the problem. And then comes the moment you stop fighting. You become a version of yourself you no longer recognize. You adapt. You go quiet. You lose your voice. This isn't confusion. This is the systematic destruction of your identity. Gaslighting only works when you stop trusting yourself. And the tragic part, most people only recognize what happened to them in hindsight. When they're out, when they have distance, when they can finally think clearly again. The antidote, the most important question isn't, how do I stop this person? It's, who benefits when I doubt myself? Gaslighting rarely ends because the person doing it stops. It ends when you stop doubting yourself. What you do with that clarity is up to you, but clarity is always the first step. If you've been nodding along, hit the like button. It helps more people find these videos. The 3 signs of real gaslighting. Maybe you're asking yourself right now, was that really gaslighting? Or am I too sensitive? Here are 3 clear patterns. 1. Repetition. It doesn't happen once. It happens over and over. 2. Growing self-doubt. You feel increasingly uncertain, not about the situation, but about yourself. 3. Blame shifting. No matter what happens, you are made the problem. When these 3 things come together, it's not a misunderstanding. It's manipulation. The 5 stages of gaslighting are not random. They form a system, a cycle, a quiet form of psychological destruction. One important truth: gaslighting rarely stops just because you recognize it. People who gaslight rarely change, and confrontation often leads to more manipulation, not less. What you do with this recognition, whether you stay, leave, or wait, is up to you. Every situation is different, but one thing is certain. Once you see the pattern, it stops working the same way. Clarity gives you your power back. You become steadier. You become clearer. You become yourself again. And you realize the problem was never you. You have the right to trust your own perception, always. If you want to recognize the phrases narcissists use to manipulate you, watch this next. 10 things narcissists say and what they really mean. And if you want to spot the warning signs early, watch 7 hidden warning signs of narcissism that most people miss. Subscribe for new videos every week. Calm, clear, and direct. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. Clarity is the first step to freedom.